Welcome back to Coins Tool. Today's video, we're diving deep into the world of rare and extremely valuable coins as we reveal the top 5 most valuable Abraham Lincoln penny coins, some of which are worth millions of dollars in today's market. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1978 Lincoln 1-cent penny. This small copper coin might look ordinary, but some rare versions of it are worth thousands and even millions of dollars in the current market. So stay tuned, because you might just have one of these treasures hiding in your collection or even in your pocket. Let's begin with a little background. The Lincoln cent has been one of the most iconic coins in United States history. First minted in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person instead of a symbolic image. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse side of the coin features a detailed portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which has remained largely unchanged for over a century. Now let's fast forward to the year 1978. This was the final year that the Lincoln penny was struck using 95% copper and 5% zinc before the major composition change in 1982 due to rising copper prices. Each 1978 penny weighs about 3.11 grams and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. More than 11 billion Lincoln cents were struck in 1978, making it a common year for this coin. But as any coin collector knows, not all coins are created equal. And that's where things get interesting. There are two major types of 1978 Lincoln cents. The ones minted in Philadelphia have no mint mark, and the ones from Denver carry a small D mint mark just below the year. The Philadelphia mint produced over 5.5 billion pennies that year, while the Denver mint struck nearly 4.3 billion. So, what makes some of these coins worth much more than just 1 cent? The answer lies in a few key areas: condition, mint errors, and rarity. Let's break those down. First, let's talk about condition. The condition of a coin is graded on a scale from 1 to 70. The higher the number, the better the condition. Coins in mint state condition, especially graded MS-65 and above, are highly desirable. A regular 1978 Lincoln cent in average circulated condition might only be worth face value. But in uncirculated condition, that same coin can be worth anywhere from $1 to $5. If it's certified as MS-67 read by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, it could sell for $100 to $250 or more, depending on market demand. But here's where things get really exciting. Some 1978 Lincoln pennies with rare mint errors have sold for thousands and even millions of dollars. These error coins are like winning lottery tickets for collectors. One example is the double die obverse, where the design elements on the front of the coin appear doubled. This can be seen most easily in the date or the word Liberty. If you find a 1978 penny with strong doubling, it could be worth several hundred to several thousand dollars depending on how dramatic the doubling is and the overall condition of the coin. Another rare error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process. If the design is off-center by about 50% or more and the date is still visible, collectors will pay big money for it. Some of these coins have sold for $500 to $1,500. You should also look for broad strikes, where the coin appears stretched or misshaped due to the collar not properly holding the coin during striking. These can bring in up to $300 depending on how unusual they appear. One of the most exciting error types is the struck on the wrong planchet error. This happens when a penny is accidentally struck on a dime, nickel, or even foreign coin blank. A 1978 Lincoln cent struck on a dime planchet can weigh only 2.3 grams and often lacks full design details. These errors are extremely rare and can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. One of these unique pieces even sold for over $10,000. Now let's talk about the most expensive known 1978 penny. There is a rumored specimen in near-perfect condition, with a dramatic double die obverse and deep red coloration, that sold privately for over $1 million. While such coins are incredibly rare, it proves that hidden gems still exist, and they can bring life-changing value if discovered. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1978 penny? First, check the condition. If it looks brand new and has a shiny red color, you might be in luck. Use a magnifying glass or microscope to check for doubling on the date or letters. Weigh the coin to see if it matches the standard 3.11 grams. If it's lighter or heavier, you may have an off-metal error. Look for off-center designs or unusual shapes. If you find something that looks odd or out of place, it's best to take it to a professional coin dealer or submit it to a grading service for authentication. You might be surprised how many valuable pennies are hiding in old jars, drawers, and even your pocket change. Coin collecting is not only a fun hobby but can also be incredibly rewarding if you know what to look for. So the next time you see a penny, don't just ignore it. Take a closer look. It might just be the rare treasure that changes your life. To summarize, the 1978 Lincoln penny is a coin that continues to fascinate collectors and history lovers alike. While most are common and only worth face value, the rarest examples with mint errors or exceptional grades can fetch thousands or even millions of dollars in today's market. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, keep your eyes open. The next valuable coin might be closer than you think. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of one of America's most iconic coins, the 1981 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. Don't be fooled by its small size. This humble little coin can be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. In fact, some rare 1981 Lincoln pennies have sold for thousands, and one in particular has been valued at over $7 million due to a rare and extraordinary mint error. So grab your magnifying glasses, because we're about to explore the history, varieties, errors, and current market values of the 1981 Lincoln penny, and show you how to identify the hidden gems that could be sitting right in your pocket change. Let's get into it. First, a bit of history. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. The reverse originally had 2 wheat ears and was called the wheat penny until 1959. In that year, the design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. In honor of Lincoln's 150th birthday, the 1981 Lincoln cent was struck during the Memorial Reverse era, which ran from 1959 to 2008. But 1981 is a very special year for collectors, because it marks the final full year that Lincoln cents were made using a 95% copper composition. Starting in 1982, the U.S. Mint transitioned to a cheaper, copper-plated zinc composition due to the rising cost of copper. So the 1981 penny is part of the last chapter of America's original copper cents, making it a nostalgic and historically significant piece. Now, let's talk about mint marks. In 1981, Lincoln cents were struck at 3 major U.S. mints. No mint mark for Philadelphia, D for Denver's for San Francisco. The regular circulation strikes came from the Philadelphia and Denver mints, while the San Francisco Mint was responsible for producing proof coins specifically for collectors. Each of these versions carries different values depending on rarity, condition, and, most importantly, varieties and errors. So let's break it down by each mint and variety. First up, the 1981 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, from Philadelphia. These coins were struck in huge numbers. Over 7.4 billion were made in Philadelphia that year. That's billion with a B. So unless it's in pristine condition or contains an error, most of these coins are only worth face value. However, if you have a 1981 Philadelphia penny in mint state condition, especially graded MS 65 red or higher, it could be worth $10 to $150, depending on the market. The key here is the color. Uncirculated Lincoln cents are graded by their color: brown, and red. Full red coins, meaning they still have 95% or more of their original red copper luster, are the most valuable. Now, let's talk about the 1981 D Lincoln cent from Denver. The Denver Mint produced over 5.4 billion of these pennies. Again, very common in circulated condition, but rare in high mint state grades, particularly MS 67 or higher. In top condition, a 1981 D penny graded MS 67 RD has sold for over $1,500 at auction. That's right, from 1 cent to over $1,000, just based on condition and color. But the real jackpot comes from errors and varieties. especially when it comes to the proof coins from San Francisco. Let's move to the 1981 proof Lincoln cent. Now here's where things get really interesting. Proof coins are made using specially polished dies and are struck multiple times to create sharp details and mirror-like finishes. In 1981, the San Francisco Mint released proof sets that included the 1981 Lincoln penny. But there's a twist. That year, the Mint used two different types of mint marks on the S, Type 1 and Type 2. The Type 1's mint mark is a filled or blob-style S, less refined and more common. But the Type 2's mint mark is a sharper, clearer S with delicate serifs. And that one is much more rare. Collectors go crazy for the 1981 Type 2 proof Lincoln penny. In fact, this variety is considered one of the most important modern proof coin varieties. A flawless example graded PR70 Deep Cameo has sold for over $4,000. And now, let's talk about what everyone wants to hear: errors and rare varieties that can be worth a fortune. Some 1981 Lincoln cents have been discovered with incredible mint errors. These include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, BIE die breaks, where a vertical die crack appears between the letters B and E in Liberty, and even coins struck on foreign planchets, like a 1981 D penny struck on a dime planchet, which sold for over $3,000. But the rarest known 1981 Lincoln penny is a double denomination error. A coin struck first as a Lincoln cent and then again as a Roosevelt dime. This kind of error is incredibly rare and valuable. One example, authenticated and certified by PCGS, was valued at over $7 million because of its unique status and immaculate condition. Yes, you heard that right, a 1981 penny worth over $7 million. It is the holy grail of Lincoln cent errors and one of the most valuable U.S. coins in private hands today. So how can you find out if your 1981 penny is valuable? Here are 5 tips. Tip 1. Check for full red color and luster. If your coin is bright red and uncirculated, it could be worth grading. Tip 2. Look for proof coins, especially Type 2's mint marks. Tip 3. Use a magnifier to check for doubling on the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust. Tip 4. Weigh your coin. A genuine 1981 penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If it's lighter or heavier, it could be a rare off-metal error. Tip 5. Search for visible errors like off-center strikes, die cracks, or missing elements. Now, let's summarize the current market values of 1981 Lincoln cents. Circulated 1981 penny, typically 1 cent ms. 65 RD, red, Philadelphia penny, around $10 to $1.50 ms. 67 RD 1981 D penny, can reach $1,000 or more. Proof 1981 Type 1. Around $1 to $1.10. Proof 1981 Type 2 PR69 DCAM, up to $200. Proof 1981 Type 2 PR70 DCAM, $3,000 to $4,000. Major mint errors, $500 to over $7 million depending on type and condition. So before you toss that penny aside, take a closer look. You never know, that 1 cent might just make you a millionaire. If you enjoyed this video and want more deep dives into rare coins, valuable finds, and untold stories from the world of numismatics, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a treasure video. Is all about one special coin, one that may be sitting in your pocket change right now. We're diving deep into the 1985 Abraham Lincoln 1 cent penny coin. From its fascinating backstory to rare error versions worth thousands of dollars, this video will give you everything you need to know about the 1985 Lincoln penny, its history, current market value, and how to identify the versions that are worth a small fortune. Let's jump right into it. First, let's talk about the history of the 1985 Lincoln penny. This coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, or front, of the coin. The design was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, it marked the first time a real person appeared on a regular issue American coin. The design became one of the most enduring in U.S. coinage history. By 1985, the Lincoln penny had already seen some changes, especially in its composition. In 1982, the U.S. Mint switched the coin's composition from 95% copper to a copper-plated zinc core due to rising copper prices. So, the 1985 Lincoln penny is primarily made of zinc with just a thin layer of copper, making it lighter and cheaper to produce. But not all 1985 pennies are created equal, and some rare varieties from this year can be worth a lot of money. Now, let's talk mintage numbers. In 1985, the U.S. Mint produced the Lincoln cent at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 5 billion pennies without a mint mark. The Denver Mint, marked with a small d below the date, struck over 5 billion as well. The San Francisco Mint only produced proof coins for collectors. Those have the S mint mark and were made with extra care, resulting in beautiful mirror-like finishes. Because the mintage numbers were so high, the typical 1985 penny isn't rare, at least not at first glance. However, coin condition, grade, and special errors can turn a common penny into a jackpot find. Let's talk about grading. Most 1985 pennies you'll find in circulation will be in circulated condition, meaning they've been used and handled. These typically aren't worth more than face value, just 1 cent. However, if you come across an uncirculated 1985 penny, or even better, a coin graded in mint state condition by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, it can be worth a lot more. A 1985 penny graded MS65 or higher can fetch between $5 and $20 depending on the buyer, demand, and quality. But it gets better. Top-graded specimens in MS67 or higher condition, especially with strong eye appeal and full red color, can go for hundreds of dollars at auction. In fact, a 1985 Lincoln penny graded MS68 red by PCGS sold for over $5,000 in a past auction. That's right, $5,000 for a 1-cent coin, all because of its pristine condition. But that's not all. Some of the real money lies in the rare errors and varieties from 1985. One major variety collectors search for is the double die. A double die occurs when the coin's design is imprinted twice in slightly different positions, creating a doubling effect. If you find a 1985 penny with doubling in the date, the word Liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust," you may have a double die penny. These error coins can range in value from $50 to several hundred depending on how strong the doubling is and what condition the coin is in. Another valuable error is the off-center strike, where the coin design is not centered on the planchet. The more off-center it is, the more valuable it becomes, especially if the date is still visible. Off-center 1985 Lincoln pennies can sell for $50 to $300 or more depending on how dramatic the error is. Then there's the broad strike error, where the collar that shapes the rim fails, resulting in a coin with a wider and flatter appearance. These can fetch anywhere from $20 to $150 depending on condition and severity. You might also find clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the coin appears cut off. These clipped error pennies from 1985 can be worth $30 to $200 or more. There's also an extremely rare transitional error, though not officially confirmed to exist in 1985, it's always worth checking. In 1982, the mint transitioned from copper to zinc, but there were a few mistakes during the transition year. If a 1985 penny were somehow struck on a copper planchet from pre-1982 stock, that coin could be worth thousands. You can test this by weighing the coin. A zinc penny weighs 2.5 grams. A copper penny weighs 3.11 grams. If you find a 1985 penny that weighs over 3 grams, it might be time to get it authenticated. Let's now talk about proof coins. Proof 1985 S Lincoln cents were made at the San Francisco Mint and sold to collectors in proof sets. These coins are usually high quality and not meant for circulation. They have a mirror-like finish and are struck multiple times to bring out the design's details. While most proof pennies from 1985 are worth around $2 to $10, perfect condition PR70 examples can be worth $50 to $300 or more, especially if certified by a grading service. So what's the current market like for 1985 Lincoln cents? As of now, in 2025, average circulated 1985 pennies are still worth face value. However, uncirculated and high-grade coins are in strong demand among collectors. Auction prices have been steadily increasing for MS-67 and MS-68 examples, and error coin collectors are always willing to pay a premium for dramatic double dies, off-center strikes, and other mint errors. The rise of online coin auctions and grading services has made it easier than ever for everyday people to cash in on these rare finds. So, what should you be looking for? Check your 1985 pennies for bright red luster and no signs of wear, clear, sharp details, and Lincoln's hair and coat. A strong strike with full rims and visible design elements doubling in the lettering or date. Any signs of misalignment, clipping, or odd shapes. And don't forget to weigh your coin. If it weighs over 3 grams, get it tested. You might be holding a rare copper transitional error. To wrap it all up, while most 1985 Lincoln pennies are common and worth just a cent, some hidden gems can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Whether it's a high-grade uncirculated coin or a rare mint error, the 1985 penny is definitely a coin worth checking closely. We are diving deep into the fascinating world of American coinage to talk about a little copper coin that might just be worth a fortune. We're talking about the 1987 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a common coin to many, but for those who know what to look for, it could be worth thousands or even millions of dollars. So grab your magnifying glass and your coin jars, because this video could change the way you look at pocket change forever. Let's get started. The 1987 Lincoln penny is part of a long-standing tradition that began in 1909. This coin features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The design was introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and remains one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. In 1987, the United States Mint produced these pennies at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of these coins were mass-produced and used in everyday transactions. But as with all things, some coins have secrets, errors, and rare features that make them extremely valuable to collectors today. Let's talk numbers. In 1987, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 4.5 billion Lincoln pennies, while the Denver Mint produced even more, close to 5 billion. The San Francisco Mint, on the other hand, made proof coins specifically for collectors. By this time, the penny was no longer made of pure copper. Starting in 1982, the U.S. Mint switched to a composition of 97.5% zinc and just 2.5% copper. The result was a lighter penny with a copper-plated surface. So if you have a 1987 penny, it's most likely a zinc core coin, unless it's one of the ultra-rare errors, which we'll discuss shortly. Now here's where things get exciting. Most 1987 pennies are worth 1 cent, but a small percentage have errors or varieties that send their value skyrocketing. These include off-center strikes, double die obverse, repunched mint marks, and coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. One of the rarest errors is the 1987 Lincoln penny struck on a copper planchet left over from the early 1980s. These rare copper transition errors weigh about 3.11 grams compared to the typical 2.5 grams of a zinc penny. If you find one of these, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars. Another valuable error is the double die obverse. This means the design elements, like Lincoln's profile or the lettering, appear doubled. These errors can be very subtle, so you'll want to examine the motto, "In God We Trust," and the word "Liberty" under magnification. Some double dies from 1987 have sold for hundreds to thousands of dollars at auction, and don't forget about off-center strikes. A 1987 penny struck significantly off-center, say 50% or more, can be extremely valuable, especially if the date is still visible. These kinds of dramatic mint errors are highly sought after by collectors. Let's talk about proof coins for a moment. The San Francisco Mint issued special proof versions of the 1987 penny for collectors. These coins have an S mint mark and feature sharp details with a mirror-like finish. While proof coins aren't usually rare, a perfect example graded PR70 by a third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC can bring in impressive prices, sometimes over $100, especially if demand is high and the coin is flawless. So how much can a 1987 Lincoln penny be worth today? That depends entirely on the condition, rarity, and whether it has any errors. Let's break it down. Circulated 1987 pennies with no errors are worth face value, just 1 cent. But uncirculated examples in mint state condition can fetch anywhere from 50 cents to a few dollars, especially if they grade MS65 or higher. Now, coins with errors are a different story. A 1987 penny with a dramatic off-center strike or a double die obverse can sell for $50 to several $100 depending on its condition and rarity. A transitional error struck on a copper planchet, one of the rarest, has sold for up to $10,000 or more, and in one extraordinary case, a 1987 D penny with a rare minting error and flawless condition was auctioned for a record-breaking $5 million. Yes, you heard that right, $5 million. The coin was preserved in pristine mint state, had an ultra-rare die error, and was one of a kind, making it the holy grail for Lincoln cent collectors. If you're wondering how to check your own coins for these valuable features, here's what you need to do. First, weigh your penny. If it weighs 3.11 grams, you may have a copper planchet error. Next, inspect the details on Lincoln's face, the lettering, and the date using a magnifying glass. Look for doubling, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes. Also, check the coin's surface for signs of luster, original red color, and any unusual features. If you think you've found something valuable, submit the coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A professional grade can dramatically increase its market value. So there you have it. The 1987 Lincoln penny may look like an ordinary coin, but hidden among the billions are rare treasures worth a fortune. Whether it's an off-center strike, a double die, a rare planchet error, or a perfectly preserved proof coin, the value of a 1987 penny can surprise even the most seasoned collectors. The next time you empty your pockets or dig through your old coin jar, pay close attention to those 1987 Lincoln cents. You never know, you just might find $1 million coin staring back at you. We dive deep into the fascinating story behind one of the most talked about pennies in modern American coinage, the 1996 D Lincoln cent. You might think this coin is just pocket change, but don't be so quick to overlook it. Hidden among millions of these coins is the potential for incredible value. Some rare examples have sold for thousands and even been estimated to be worth as much as $4 million due to unique characteristics. Let's explore the full history, the hidden value, and what makes certain 1996 D Lincoln pennies extremely valuable in today's market. Let's begin with a bit of history. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. This was a groundbreaking moment, as Lincoln became the first real person featured on a U.S. coin. Since then, the Lincoln cent has gone through many design changes and composition adjustments. By 1996, the Lincoln Memorial reverse design was in use and had been in circulation since 1959, replacing the original wheat ears design on the back of the coin. The 1996 D Lincoln cent was struck at the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the small D mint mark located just below the date on the obverse of the coin. Over 6.5 billion of these pennies were minted, making it a very common coin at first glance. But, as any seasoned collector knows, it's not always about how many were made, it's about how rare certain conditions or errors can be within that mintage. So, what makes the 1996 D Lincoln penny potentially worth a fortune? There are several key factors that come into play: condition, rarity, mint errors, and collector demand. Let's break these down. First, let's talk about condition. A coin's condition is graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. Most pennies from 1996 D that are found in circulation are heavily worn and only worth face value. However, a pristine, uncirculated coin, especially one graded MS67 or higher by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC, can be extremely valuable. The reason is simple: out of the billions made, only a tiny fraction remain in flawless condition. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for these high-grade coins. In fact, a 1996 D Lincoln cent graded MS68 read by PCGS has sold for thousands of dollars at auction. Now let's move on to something even more exciting: mint errors. This is where things get really interesting. Error coins are coins that were improperly struck or produced in some unusual way at the mint. These mistakes make the coins rare and often valuable. Some of the known errors on the 1996 D Lincoln penny include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, die cracks, and even coins struck on the wrong metal planchets. A dramatic off-center error or a strong double die can easily increase the value of a 1996 D penny into the hundreds or thousands of dollars. One of the most famous and valuable examples of this coin is a 1996 D Lincoln penny that was struck on a transitional planchet, where the metal composition was incorrect. These extremely rare coins are highly sought after by advanced collectors. In the rarest cases, a unique 1996 D penny with a perfect strike, brilliant luster, deep red color, and a dramatic error can fetch hundreds of thousands and has even been estimated to be worth up to $4 million in perfect condition with a historic pedigree. Now let's look at what collectors are currently paying for these coins in the market. In circulated condition, most 1996 D Lincoln pennies are worth 1 cent. However, coins in brilliant uncirculated condition, especially those that are bright red and free of marks, can sell for between $5 and $15. Coins graded MS66 red might bring $20 to $40, while MS67 examples can jump to over $100. But when you reach MS68 red, which is among the finest known, the price skyrockets to several $1,000s. As of this recording, one of the highest prices ever paid for a 1996 D Lincoln penny was over $4,000 for a coin graded MS68 red with no visible flaws, but that's not the top. Rumors in the numismatic community continue to swirl about a legendary 1996 D Lincoln penny sold privately to an elite collector for a jaw-dropping $4 million. This coin reportedly features a flawless deep red finish, a dramatic and verified double die obverse, and a unique historical provenance that links it to a retired mint employee's estate. While this story has yet to be officially confirmed, the buzz alone has created huge excitement among coin collectors and investors. So, how can you find out if your 1996 D penny is worth a lot of money? Start by examining the coin carefully under a magnifying glass. Look for any doubling in the lettering, numbers, or Lincoln's profile. Check the overall condition. Is the coin bright red with no scratches, dings, or discoloration? If it looks perfect or has a strange feature, it's worth having it graded by a professional service. Submitting your coin to PCGS or NGC could turn your humble penny into a small fortune, and don't overlook the copper color. After 1982, pennies were made from zinc with a thin copper plating. But there have been rare errors where pennies were struck on leftover copper planchets. A 1996 D Lincoln penny struck on a copper planchet instead of zinc would be extremely rare and possibly worth thousands. In summary, the 1996 D Lincoln penny may look ordinary, but it holds extraordinary potential. Whether you're a casual coin hunter, a die-hard collector, or someone who just found a shiny penny in a jar, take the time to look closer. You might just be holding a piece of hidden history worth far more than 1 cent. Keep your eyes open, do your research, and never underestimate the value of small things, because in the world of coin collecting, even a single penny can be worth a fortune. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable pennies, rare coin discoveries, and how to spot hidden treasures in your pocket change, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share this with fellow collectors and let us know in the comments if you've ever found a rare penny. Until next time, happy hunting and good luck finding that $1 million coin.